Hello students, welcome to the video. In this video we will see what is the virtual 86 mode of processor 386. Virtual 86 mode, as its name suggests, 8086 programs can be executed on 80386 processor. 80386 is a 32-bit processor, whereas 8086 is a 16-bit processor. So as processor structure changes, instruction length or the bits used by the instruction are changing. But 80386 supports execution of 8086 instruction, that is 16-bit instruction, and for that it has virtual mode. There are two more modes in the 80386, real mode and protected mode. So to use the virtual mode, that is the V86 mode, the processor 386, it should be in protected mode. We cannot switch from real mode to virtual mode. We can switch from real mode to protected, from protected to real, or from protected to virtual 86 and from virtual 86 to protected, but no switching between real mode and virtual 86 mode. What is the use of virtual 86 mode? It is basically used to execute the programs of 8086 program, that is the programs written by using instruction set of 8086. A complete virtual machine consists of the instructions or the hardware of 80386 and the software system required for execution of program. It also supports the instruction set of 8086, and it results in cooperation between hardware and software. So hardware is a 32-bit hardware, but it is supported by software of 32-bit instruction length plus the instructions of 8086. Now what are the various registers that we can use in 8086? So in 8086 mode there are number of registers that can be used, and that is the next point, register set available for 8086 mode. 8086 programs running as V86 tasks are able to take advantage of new applications oriented instructions. So as 80386 has some new instructions introduced, plus the instructions which can be used in the 8086 mode, and those instructions can be used by V86 mode. So executing 8086 code, the processor executes 8086 mode when the VM bit is set. VM bit is a virtual machine, so if it is 1, then only we can enter the virtual mode, else it will be in protected mode. The processor tests this flag under two general conditions. So when the bit value will be checked, so that for that there are two conditions. First, when loading segment registers to know whether to use 8086 style address formation, and second, when decoding instructions to determine which instructions are sensitive to IOPL. So in these two cases it will check the VM bit, and if it is 1, then it will switch to the 8086 mode. Except for these two modifications to its normal operation, 80386 in virtual 86 mode operates much as in protected mode. So there is no difference in working of the 80386 as compared to the protected mode and when it switches to real mode. The register set available in virtual 86 mode includes all the registers defined for the 8086 plus the new registers introduced by 80386 processor, and it includes FS, GS, debug registers, 7 debug registers, control registers, and test registers. Control register CR0 to CR3. Now what are the different instructions introduced by 80386? So it includes LSS, LFS, LGS instructions, load SS, load FS, and load GS. These are the segments. This can be loaded by using these instructions. Long displacement conditional jumps. So conditional jump instructions which are jumping to the code within same program or to the code which is outside the program. Single bit instruction, so instructions which work on the single bit, that is a test bit. Bits can read bit values of the particular memory. It can be read in the forward or backward direction. Then double shift instruction, shift twice. Double shift is a shift twice. Then byte set on condition. When some condition is satisfied, it may set some byte value, and new another instruction introduced is move with sign or zero extension. It can move the content with the specified sign, that is the original sign can be shifted, or it can be copied as it is. Now linear address is generated. So in the first unit we have seen the logical address is mentioned in the instruction. It needs to be converted to linear address or physical address. So intermediate form is linear address. When the instruction is executed, the logical address mentioned in the instruction needs to be converted to linear, and the process is base address, which is a 20-bit address, is added with offset value, which is again 20-bit value, but in both the cases, that is base and offset, only 16 bits are used and 4 bits are reserved. So in the base we can see from LSB 4 bits are reserved, whereas in offset 4 MSB bits are reserved. So when we add these two values, we get a linear address, and that is a 20-bit effective address. This linear address may be a physical address if we are in real mode, and if it is protected mode, then the address is a linear address, and we need to convert it to the physical address. Now what is the structure of 86 task? It contains the program instructions of 86 plus the native code or native mode of 386 code, which monitors the program or the instructions of 8086. So it is also called as a virtual machine monitor, the 386 code which is used in the program. The task must be represented by an 80386 TSS. So we cannot use 286 TSS, task state segment. Here the TSS used is of the 386 processor. The processor enters virtual 86 mode to execute the code which belongs to 8086, and again it returns back to the 80 protected mode to execute the monitor or the task of 80386. So 386 mode is a protected mode, not the real mode. It will switch back to the protected mode only and not to the real mode, and from protected mode it goes to the particular virtual mode. Now when we want to run successfully or execute successfully in the virtual 86 mode, an existing 8086 program needs the two parts. The first one is virtual 86 monitor, which will monitor activities of 86 code, and second operating system services, which will support execution of 8086 code plus monitor feature of 80386 code. So what is virtual 86 monitor? It consists primarily of initialization and exception handling procedures. So in 86 monitor, if any exception occurs in 8086 code, it will be monitored or handled by the monitor, and some initialization required for virtual 86 mode, again it will be monitored by v86 monitor. Operating system services, these are the services or the operations executed to support execution of virtual 86 mode. Because 86 is a 16-bit, so operating system should support execution of 16-bit code, whereas operating system may be of 32-bit mode. Now how to use paging in virtual 86 mode? Paging is not necessarily for a single virtual 86 task. No need to use paging in single task or single 86 program. If we have more number of tasks, then only we can use paging. So when we want to create multiple tasks which will be executed in virtual 86 mode, then use the paging. Each task must map the lower megabyte of linear addresses to different physical locations. So lower megabyte of linear address will be mapped to the physical addresses or physical locations which are different for each task, and in that case we are using paging. Now how the protection is supported in virtual 86? As paging is not used in the virtual 86 mode, the processor will not use protection mechanism. So there is no protection in virtual 86 mode. To protect system softwares that run in virtual 86 tasks from the 8086 program, software designers may follow either of the approaches. Now what are those approaches? reserve the first megabyte of each task linear address space for the 8086 program. So instead of using some another memory space, use first megabyte plus 64 kilobytes, that is KB, memory space for 8086 task only. So it will not go outside the current memory slot, that is the memory slot of 80386. If it jumps to outside memory, then the protection is not possible. Second, use the US bit, that is user or system bit, of page table entries to protect virtual machine monitor and other system softwares in each virtual 8086 task space. When processor is in virtual 86 mode, the current privilege level is 3, so it is a user privilege. As we know, there are 4 privileges, privilege level 0 to privilege level 3. 0 is the system level, whereas privilege level 3 is user level, and it is not secure as compared to the privilege level 0. If the pages of the virtual machine monitor have supervisor privilege, they cannot be accessed by the 8086 program. So if it is under the supervisor privilege, that means privilege level 3, then the 8086 program cannot access those pages. Therefore, it should be in CPL level 3. Now it enters and leaves the virtual 86 mode. So initially, when we start a processor, it will be in protected mode. When we reset it, it enters real mode, but after that it goes to the protected mode when we execute the code or application. So initial entry, or due to the task switch, it may go to the virtual 8086 mode. From there, on execution of interrupt or exception, the virtual 86 monitor will handle the interrupt or exception, then it enters the protected mode, and after completion of ISR, it will execute iReturn, due to which the processor will switch from protected mode to virtual 86 mode, or from protected mode it may again switch, that is the due to task switch, it may enter a 80386 mode, where it is a protected mode. Now it is the application which belongs to the 386, not 8086. So another task which is a part of 80386 is executed due to the task switch. This is due to the sharing of resources, because we have limited resources in the processor and each task must be executed with available resources. So from protected mode, that is monitor, virtual 86 monitor, it goes to the 386 task, and from 386 task, due to again task switching, it enters 8086 program. From 8086 program, it may switch to the 386 task, or it may switch to the monitor mode. So due to task switching, there is a switching from virtual mode to protected mode to monitor mode, and from monitor mode it can return to the virtual 86 mode only on execution of iReturn, else it will go to the 386 mode. This is how the 386 processor will switch from virtual 86 mode to protected, and protected mode to virtual 86.